Today, we're diving into the Temperance Tarot card. And trust me, it's so much more than just a pretty picture. It's really a guide to one of life's biggest challenges, finding and keeping your balance. So let's just start with a really direct question, something to think about as we go through this. Are you living a balanced life right now? Be honest with yourself, because today we're going to explore a really powerful symbol that might just help you find the answer. At its heart, temperance is all about this one powerful idea. It's about blending opposites, finding that middle path, being the calm center in the middle of a storm. It's all about finding that perfect sweet spot of peace, patience, and moderation. So here's our game plan for today. We'll nail down what temperance is all about, we'll explore what it looks like to be in and out of balance, we'll compare them side by side, and then we'll wrap up by figuring out how to find your own center. Let's get into it. First up, let's walk down the path of balance. This is the goal, right? The ideal state. This is what the Temperance card is all about when it shows up upright in a reading. So what does this actually feel like in your day-to-day life? Well, it points to a deep sense of inner calm. It means you've got a really healthy perspective on things, and you're not so easily shaken when life throws you a curveball. And this feeling, it breaks down into a few key areas. It's not just about feeling zen. It means your relationships are more harmonious, you can adapt to pretty much anything with a clear head, and you just feel genuinely content. You really know what you value and where you're headed. Naturally, that sense of balance is going to spill over into our closest connections. So let's take a look at how temperance shows up in love. Okay, so if you're in a relationship, this is one of the best cards you could hope to see. It points to a true soulmate connection where love, commitment, and respect are all working together perfectly. And if you're single, temperance is a great sign. It's telling you that by bringing balance to your own life, your work, your hobbies, your self-care, you're actually creating the perfect space for the right person to walk right in. Now let's switch gears and see how this same idea of patience and moderation can help you build success in your work and with your finances. In your career, this card is basically a green light. It's saying, now is the time to set those big goals. Your patience and all that hard work you've been putting in, it's about to pay off. People are noticing. And financially, things are looking stable. The big piece of advice here is moderation. Don't make any risky moves. Just focus on building up your savings, slow and steady. So that all sounds pretty great, right? That's the ideal. But life isn't always so perfectly balanced. So what happens when those scales start to tip? And that brings us to the other side of the story, the path of imbalance. This is the card's shadow self, the cautionary tale it tells us when it appears reversed. It's a warning about excess and about discord. When this card flips upside down, the message does a complete 180. It becomes a major warning sign, a sign of imbalance, overindulgence, and sometimes even reckless or hasty behavior. This imbalance can show up in all kinds of ways. It could be self-indulgence, like maybe overspending or overeating, often as a way to cope with that loss of inner calm. It might be making rash decisions without thinking them through, and it almost always leads to clashing with other people because you've lost that bigger perspective. And you know how it is, that kind of inner turmoil? It never really stays contained, does it? Inevitably, it spills over and starts causing friction in our most important relationships. For couples, this points straight to conflict. Maybe one person feels like they're giving way more than they're getting, and that leads to fights. For singles, it's a warning against coming on too strong, seeming a little too eager or desperate, or trying to force a connection instead of just letting it happen naturally. It's the exact same story when it comes to our work and finances, where being out of balance can lead to some pretty serious problems. At work, this could look like you're either burning out because you're working way too much, or maybe you're not pulling your weight. Either way, it's a recipe for conflict with your coworkers. And financially, this is a huge red flag for impulsive spending. That stress from being out of whack often looks for an outlet, and that hunt for instant gratification can rack up debt really, really fast. Okay, we've seen both paths now, so let's put them side by side, because this is where the real message of temperance becomes crystal clear. I mean, look at that. It's the core duality, right there. The balanced path is all about peace, patience, and harmony. The imbalanced path is its shadow, discord, recklessness, and conflict. At the end of the day, it's a choice between two totally different ways of living. Let's just break this down even further. In your life in general, you've got a choice between inner calm and total recklessness. In love, it's the difference between a real soulmate connection and constant conflict. In your career, it's patience and dedication versus clashing with the people you work with. And with money, it's building your savings versus impulsive debt. The contrast really couldn't be any clearer.
So this isn't just about figuring out where you are. It's about taking action. If you feel like you're on that path of imbalance, how do you get back? How can we actually use this wisdom? The good news is the path back is a pretty simple 3-step process. First, you just have to acknowledge it. Take an honest look at your own behavior. Second, try to identify the cause. What's really driving all this excess or conflict? And third, actively work to reconnect with yourself. Listen to that inner voice and just take small steps to rebalance your energy. And that brings everything full circle, right back to you. This isn't about some massive, life-changing overhaul you have to do overnight. It's about small, intentional actions. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. What is one small step you can take, starting today, to find just a little more balance in your life?